Good afternoon. So let me start with a disclaimer that the first topic should be little rare and therefore I am here because the audience is also rare here. And then I feel why Mandar chose me to do this. And then I looked into my data and I found that I had many patients who came to me for opinion. But then I realized that most of them never came back because they were very happy with their movements ultimately, few months down the line. And I could get only 3 patients on surgical table. And therefore, what we should do is prevention is more important than cure. But let's go through the little experience I have. So I thought, am I the only one who has got less number of cases of radius ulnar malunion? So I looked at couple of literature. So this one of the largest series of 49 children with non-union or malunion, they found that distal third forearm non-union malunions, they don't have much problem. And generally if the child is less than 14 years, they do well. But when the malunion shift to mid shaft, it is generally does not recover unless you have you are an infant. Anybody more than 8 years generally has some issues with their forearm rotations. So but the only thing in 49 patient series of all malunion, only 2 patients complained of disability and rotation, and rest of the people they adjusted well with their lives. So the still scenario is that most of the forearm malunions they adjust very well in life, and it's very rarely that you will get them symptomatic enough to operate them. This is a 1.5-year-old child, had this much amount of malunion. 3 months later the angulation was about 32 degrees. And at 1 year follow-up, there was a significant remodeling, though some about 10-degree angulation was remaining, which probably will go on in couple of years. Another cadaveric study which noted the rotational malalignment defect of radius and ulna, and they found that ulna malunion in supination has hardly any effect, but when the radius malunites in supination, it generally has marked reduction in forearm rotation, especially if it is more than 60 degree, and generally 60 degree is not the angulation you see in your practice. If the malunion of the radius and ulna, they are both in pronation, there is a moderate reduction of rotation. But if there is a rotation of radius and ulna say in pronation or supination both in same direction, it generally acts like a radius mal rotation. But when one is in pronation, one is in supination, you get the largest limitation of forearm rotation. But that's a hypothetical situation. You generally don't get one pronation when one supination ever. An interesting study from Japan where they studied 18 kids. They did a 3D analysis of normal forearm as well as abnormal forearm, and then they superimposed, and they divided deformity into 3 different axes: X for varus valgus, Y for rotational, and Z for flexion and extension. When they divided the children, the 16 children had extension deformity of radius and only 2 had flexion, and 13 patients had radius extension and ulnar valgus. What they concluded was that during the normal forearm pronation, when there is an extension deformity of the radius, there is a bony impingement and you need to correct the bony deformity. But when there is a valgus deformity of ulna, during supination the interosseous space expands, and it is the tight transverse central band which limits the rotation, and you need to release that when you are dealing with ulnar things. And they also noted at the end, after doing so much study, that angular deformity in the proximal region is the only one which leads to problem. When it comes to distal region, it's very forgiving and you don't need to do any treatment for that. Another paper, 17 patients, 3 different types of malunion with a predominant loss of pronation, supination, or a painful DURJ. Only single bone done in 7 patients, both bones done in 10 patients. They released a significant number of patients, intraosseous membrane was released. That did not lead to any weakness or DURJ problems. And they did note that the improvement of supination deficit was much better than pronation, and I'm going to show you that in the clinical examples. And in all patients, the DURJ problems subside. So the surgery is worth taking if you ever get to do it. Let's look at the clinical example. This 10-year-old male who came to me in August 17. This is how he was treated. Ulnar angulation was missed, and by the time it healed, ulna was in significant angulation. A radius also lost its anterior bow in lateral view. I waited for 1 year. There was a significant forearm deformity. and restriction was of pronation mainly, and supination was significantly good. So I just, because they were more concerned about ulna, I treated only ulna, and after 4 months the child was lost to follow. I got this child last week for especially for this lecture, and noted that there is an excellent remodeling even at this late age. There is a full supination, and pronation is hardly less by about 10 to 15 degree, and functionally he has no problem. You can see the X-ray looks really good, except there is a loss of bow in the lateral view in the radius. I think there was a very good discussion on jig assisted surgery yesterday, and this is a no jig surgery, which was described by Charles Price, who gave us the criteria for forearm rotation, where he did osteotomy only for 9 kids over 10 years with an average deformity of 31, and all these children had satisfactory outcome with 102 degree improvement in forearm rotation, and the conclusion was that you should correct forearm malunion by 6 months if it does not correct. So what is the simplest way of doing osteotomy if you have not no access to jig, or if your patients cannot afford, or you are not very fit to do that? What you need is, you just find out where is the highest amount of deformity in the fluoroscopy guidance, remove the wedge from the apex, usually do the radial osteotomy first, get the proper angular and rotational malalignment, follow it by ulnar osteotomy if that is required. Rotation is generally easily required. Put the hand in supination, you will be able to see radial tuberosity as well as a styloid, and in lateral you will see coronoid as well as styloid. And sometimes if there is a lengthening, you can remove a part of bone either from radius, ulna, or both. Let's look at this longer clinical examination. This child had fracture, and 3 times he was given twice under plaster under anesthesia, and 3rd time osteoclysis and anesthesia. And he presented to me with this type of angulation and delayed union. And on presentation, this was the situation: significantly restricted movement. After 1 month, there was 29 degree angulation, which continued like that. I waited at 8 months, it was the same restriction of mainly pronation as mentioned earlier. At 1 year follow-up, since there was a significant deformity in ulna with a significant overlap, only ulnar osteotomy was done. This is how it was done. 5 months post-surgery, everything was going well, improved in cosmesis as well as material. Before removal of ulnar nail, there was a very good improvement, except terminal about 20-30 degree of pronation was not there, rest was full. But 6 months later, he fell again. Now again, because the radius was the board bone, it fractured again. I put him in a plaster because they did not want initial surgery. It further angulated. So I took a comparative view and explained to parents that it will be good to do that, because at that point of time, a lot of people in PDOT group said to do this. So this is how radius was recreated. There was a good bowing in both the way, but unfortunately there was a significant supination restriction now, because I had done significant release. So he is now, he was put while removal of implant into supination plaster, and now last week I saw him and he has improved. But whenever you have a mid-shaft radius ulnar fracture, you need a reduction, but the most important things which we don't do is a radiological follow-up. I think first 21 days weekly follow-up is very important. If you have a displacement, you have multiple ways to correct it: re-reduce, wedge, or do a nail or plate. If you do that, you will not end up in this situation. Thank you very much.